What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Gumps Podcast, episode whatever. I'm with your boy, Leo. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on, Gump? How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and I gotta admit, I miss doing podcasts. It's so fun to just, talk about whatever is going on in the entertainment business and industry, and just see what's going on, and today, there's not a lot to talk about, but right now there's one major key thing that's happening right now. And what that is Cinemark is opening their theaters again. There's quite a bit of things that's going on. There's like a 4 or 5 phase program they're going through right now.
Yeah.
There's only 5 theaters opening up in the Dallas Fort Worth area. There's only 5 opening there, and then they're going to start slowly rolling them in. And what you mentioned before we even started the live stream is one of my biggest issues with this is that they're not requiring face masks. And I get it, like they said that they're only going to be leaving them open to 50% capacity, but that's still a major risk. Well, I want to hear your thoughts, dude.
Man, I think it is definitely a major risk. Them only leaving it up to the people and leaving it up to the audience to make these decisions is not a good idea. Nobody's gonna go with a mask at this point. Honestly, I envision it to where it's going to be that 50%, probably 80% of them are not gonna have a mask on. So therefore, I'm not gonna feel that safe, even if there is distance between the seats. What if one of them starts coughing or sneezing or some shit?
Yeah,
we have
everything's
already
airborne.
seen all these charts online of one person in a room of 18 or 20 infects all 20 of them, and it's just such a spreadable virus. Even if you get up and go to the bathroom and you have the virus, you caught the virus maybe that day and you don't know, but you're in a movie theater, you get up and go to the bathroom and you end up coughing into your shoulder or whatever right next to somebody as you're squeezing by, you could have just passed the virus to someone.
Yeah.
I don't find it very responsible to leave it up to the customer, the moviegoer. I think that restaurants have done an excellent job of making people wear masks for service, some restaurants in some places have opened back up and they say we won't serve you without a mask, and I don't see why a movie theater can't do the exact same. I think they're worried about money and whatever,
Yeah.
but I'm more worried about safety because I've talked to people who would be delighted to go to Tenet in July in a mask and gloves. I mean, make them wear that stuff. Make them wear a mask at the very least. I think it's irresponsible.
I agree 100%. And I definitely think it's because they are worried about money, to say the least, because one of the part of the 5-step program, or however many steps they have, is that they are going to be releasing older movies. I don't know what they mean by older, if it's a year old or 30, 50 years old. They're going to be releasing older movies where it's going to be I think it was $5 for adults and $3 for kids and seniors. And they're trying to rush people back to the theaters a little too quickly, and doing something like that it doesn't require to wear masks tells me that they're worried about their business. And I get that. I 100% get it, that you got a business to run. And a company like AMC Theaters, with the drama with them earlier in the year, that aside, they're struggling. The company themselves said that, yeah, we're in a little bit of trouble. We might not make it out through this, and they're saying that with their statistics and all that stuff. So they're pretty much in trouble, and they're not the ones rushing out. So it begs the question: how smart is this? And is it a good business model, or is it just risking more citizens and lives and stuff like that? Because people think that the coronavirus is going downhill, but with recent events and things opening up as quickly as they are, coronavirus cases have increased. I forget how many, by how much percentage, but I want to know.
It seemed like a slow increase. It hasn't been steep yet, but people aren't really getting tested, and yeah. Man, it's a big concern. I know that Georgia opened their theaters a lot earlier, and they have been suffering, man. There was a theater. I was reading a report on Variety. It was a theater somewhere in Georgia, and they were saying that literally the first weekend, only 10 people showed up.
Yikes!
Entirely. I'm like,
Damn.
wow, for a theater, 10 people in the weekend, and then the second weekend it was somewhere like 25 and 30, and I'm like, for a movie theater, your entire weekend. Like 25 people, the entire weekend.
At that point, you're just losing money.
Interest. And I know Variety did a survey, and 70% of people said that they would have actually preferred to have a video-on-demand choice for their movies, and that's a pretty steep amount. I know Trolls initially reported 100 million in video-on-demand sales. They haven't updated it yet, or I haven't looked at it. But last time I seen the report, it actually was 100 million, and they said in the report that it passed up the first movie in sales. So I'm trying to I want to get some like concrete figures from that, but it looks like something could have worked. I want to see like some figures, some charts, some sales. I want to see if there's like anything worth shaking up the industry for. Like maybe throwing some smaller movies straight to video on demand, but I think for the time being, it will be in their best choices to do that, or to just delay some stuff. Tenet, I mean, hell, at the end of the trailer it says coming to theaters. It doesn't even have a date anymore.
Yeah, I think it's because of the uncertainty. Because they're like, okay, they definitely want this to be released in July. According to the theaters, according to everybody, everyone says Tenet is going to be released in July, but they don't know that. That's why when Tenet's trailer came out, it didn't say specific date, because they're like, okay, we don't know if it's going to be officially coming out in July, but we're still going to try everything in our power to get it to July, which is a very risque play. I'm happy that there's going to be a movie coming out soon, but when you really think about it, like what you just said, 10 people on a weekend, you're not only losing money for the theaters for that, because you got to pay all the people that are working there, you got to pay the theater and all this other stuff, and then you're just losing so much money. And something like Tenet, this is Christopher Nolan's, I think, one of his biggest budget movies. I think like right under The Dark Knight Rises, this is his biggest budget movie. It's like what, $200 million budget, which is insane. It's insane. It was already a risk because of the original idea concept. And I want to hear you original idea warriors out there. Like, we love our original concepts. I swear to God. Because there's so many original ideas out there. Yeah, every original idea person out there is like, I support original movies. Yeah, then tell me, why did certain original movies make like 30 million worldwide? What about Kubo and the Two Strings? My favorite original movie from the past couple of years. No money. It lost money. Where were you original warriors
Kubo
out there?
And the Two Strings? That was a pretty dope film, man.
Dude, that was a great-ass movie.
Very underrated.
Very superbly underrated. I don't even love the platform that much, the stop motion. I'm not the biggest fan of it. But my God, it was so beautiful. Oh my God. They made that shit work. It was like a $90 million budget and I think it made 120.
$77 million at the box office.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah. People think like this. Oh, okay, 90 million budget and 77 world box office. It only lost like 11, 20 million. I get into so many arguments about this. The budget does not include marketing, and marketing people underestimate. I think for something like Kubo and the Two Strings, I think that was probably like an 80 and it's like 80, 90 million
for some movies.
Yeah,
like for a Marvel movie.
Yeah, dude, double easy.
You can double it easily, but I think for this one, you could tack on an extra like 30, 40. You could say it was 100 million, like you were saying.
Yeah,
and that 77 is a loss.
That's a big loss.
What sucks for that is I'm looking at this, man. It came out in August. Not a good time for movies to come out, especially like an animated movie when kids are going back to school. And it's not a Pixar. It's not a Disney. It's not a DreamWorks. It's not an Illumination. If you're not one of the big players in the animation industry, you could get stomped over by something as simple as like a Captain America movie or something.
Agreed.
I wonder what else. released
mean,
alongside.
I mean, what I also think it was again stop motion. People are not watching stop motion animation. People are just. I think it's dying art form, and it's scaring a lot of people. Like 2D versus 3D. Statistically speaking, 3D movies do better. Just like per movie basis, 3D movies make their money back more. Even though there's a thirst for 2D animation.
Well, wasn't that Missing Link? Wasn't that a stop motion?
That missing. That barely made any money.
Isle of Dogs was a stop motion, and I'm not saying they're making tons of money, but man, they're such good movies.
They're amazing movies, especially because usually when someone goes for style, they usually have a good reason for it. And when you go for style, there's like a good story behind it. There's a good character, and it usually means you got something specific to your heart. Because you can always take the easy route.
I love that damn Isle of Dogs. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Man,
yeah,
that was such a good movie.
Yeah, I never seen that.
I'm a big Wes Anderson fan, man. Check it out. It's a good little movie, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely been grinding out some films. I just started watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy because I needed a break from Harry Potter. Go figure. The Potterhead. Yeah, after the 31st time of watching the series, it just things start becoming a little bit more apparent. Yeah, I've watched it a handful of times, dude. Like I used to watch the series twice a year, from beginning to end.
Holy smokes, man!
Yeah, like
I love like you need to move to more pieces in the library first, and then come back to that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Mainly because let's sidetrack real quick. I was gonna make a video about this, but I feel like this is the perfect place to talk about it. There's a lot of good things about Harry Potter that I love. The reason why I keep coming back. Snape's arc is one of them. I love Snape's arc. Everyone shits on him for some reason. Like, he's unredeemable. I know this is an unpopular thing to say, but I'm going to say I know with you, Leo. Just hear me out. People say Darth Vader was redeemed, right? If you believe that, that's awesome. He murdered millions of people, thousands of people. Snape, all he did was being a dick to the trio. And he was a double spy for Dumbledore. He was a spy acting like this, acting like that. And he was a dick to the kids, but in reality, he was just a good person who had a tragic past. And people were like, unredeemable! Unredeemable!
Wait, people were screaming that? Come on, man.
Apparently, I'm like, bro, what do you mean he's unredeemable? Oh, he was an asshole to the kids. I'm like, bro...
He should have been first in line for redemption. He was getting bullied by Harry's father, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
and no one says anything about Harry's father. The dude was in love. Dude, not only was he in love with this girl, his bully got to marry her, and now he has to protect his bully's kid, the love of his life's kid. I would be pretty pissed too.
Bully in the eyes every day through that kid, and. Not to mention, he's got his mom's eyes.
Yeah.
And then his dad's everything else.
Yeah.
What a curse.
Dude, that's why I love... Because when I rewatch it, Snape's arc, watching it from beginning to end, they make him always look out to be the bad guy. But when you really look at it and analyze it, Snape was always the good guy. Like, from the first movie. From the beginning, like, the first movie, he looks like... They made it out to be like... It looked like he was cursing Harry's broom. But in reality, it was the fucking... Professor Quirrell. Yeah, Professor Quirrell.
The dude with the rap head.
Yeah, that fucking dude. They did that such in a clever way because they did a wide shot revealing both of them doing it, but they zoomed in instantaneously, only giving you like a split second to see Quirrell in the back doing it. And they're like, oh, look, it's Snape.
Voldemort on the back of his head?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, dude.
I gotta go back and watch these.
Dude, like, just watch it for Snape's arc. That's why I always went back, because I always found something new. But getting to the reason why it's getting hard for me to watch it again and again and again, for one big reason, the drama. The biggest problem with the Harry Potter movies is the romance and stuff like that. You don't see it a lot in the first 3 movies, but 4 is... I'm halfway through 4, and that's when I had to stop, because I'm just like, dude, the romance and the drama was just not my cup of tea. I get why they did it. I get why they're doing it, because they're kids. But we had Ron turn into a total douche because Harry, according to everybody, was like, yo, he put his name in the Goblet of Fire. First off, this motherfucker's a 4th year. And This guy is proving you guys wrong time and time again. Like, you guys say Harry did something, he didn't do it. Harry did something, he didn't do it. But the fourth year did something so complex that fooled Dumbledore, and yet you're not going to believe him, even though he's time and time proved you guys wrong. That's why I'm just sitting there thinking, like, damn, if I was this dude's best friend, I'd be like, dude, let me help you out. But he had to throw a pity party. I'm like, fuck you. I hate it for it. It used to be my favorite because it reminded me of the Olympics. But getting into it, I was like,
yeah, when you go back, it does not have the rewatch value it had.
Dude,
you're right. It's packed with the drama, and you know what was so. Why 4 had such shock value is the Cedric Diggory stuff, and like seeing him just like get killed like that.
Dude,
that was like the first time that something like that happened in the Harry Potter series. So
that
it was like
first death.
Incredibly like, yeah, it was like, oh my god, it was shocking, and it like kind of shook you and left you like leaving the movie afterward like, well, damn, these characters really can die, and because up to that point nobody had really been killed in that manner.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it was how he got killed too. That entire sequence was fucking haunting because it was in a graveyard, and like you lost all sense of hope because first off, Dumbledore. A lot of people shit on Dumbledore for doing nothing. Okay, let's put that aside. Dumbledore is God. Okay, we'll get that out of the way. Dumbledore was not there. The one thing that Voldemort fears most is Dumbledore, and he was nowhere near them. So that's scary. And you got a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old's corpse laying on the ground.
Like, good God, man.
It's scary stuff. Shit. And it was the first time we see Voldemort win. Voldemort won in 4. That's the thing. Yeah. Like, the concept and everything was great. But I think, like I was going to say in my video, the book of 4 was actually being written when the movie was being made, the first movie. So I feel like she had a sense of being rushed on that one. So she's like, okay, I got to crank this one out so I can catch up. 5 used to be my least favorite for a while. 6 was mainly always my bottom tier Harry Potter movie. But like
you didn't
5,
like Order of the Phoenix?
No, 5 for a while it wasn't my favorite, but I rewatched it. What was it, last year?
That one is really
dude good. I rewatched 5. I'm like, God damn, this is good.
Right. Yeah, it is. Yep, that's Order. And then 6 is Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah. The reason why I didn't like Half-Blood Prince as much or at all is because it had nothing to do with the rise of Voldemort.
It was just what, Harry and Voldemort? Or Harry and Dumbledore?
Yeah, the only thing you really learn in the world is Horcruxes and how were they made. That's pretty much it. And it was dealing with the guilt of this one professor who told Tom Riddle about the Horcruxes and how to make them. That was the entire. That's all I remember with the movie. With every single Harry Potter movie, I remember so much because there was something new to explore about the world. Then you get to 6, it's just like Snape made a couple potions and a teacher feels bad because he told Tom Riddle about Horcruxes. It was kind of like a
filler movie.
That's what it felt like. Yeah, that's my biggest problem.
It was just there to
and kill Dumbledore.
Something to squeeze between the end, the Deathly Hallows, and Order of the Phoenix. Which I like Order of the Phoenix, getting them all together, and then that whole scene at the end where he has to kill it. Oh my god, man!
Yeah,
I gotta go back and watch that, bro.
Yeah, Order of the Phoenix is now my favorite out of all of them. 3 is like the most popular favorite Harry Potter movie, and I definitely see why. It's such a good movie, and but
3 is your favorite?
No, 5 is my favorite, but 3 is like 3 is the most popular thing to say that's a favorite. Like it's the one that everyone says I love 3 so much, but nah, 5 is my favorite. I love 3, but I mean, 7 Part 2 is my favorite, but I don't like to count that though because it's the ending of like a huge saga. So like I try not to count it because that's such a cop out. You know what I mean?
7, you said?
7 Part 2 is actually my favorite, mainly because it's the end of everything, and you see how everything kind of coexisted. I remember watching when the day this movie came out. The day it came out, I was watching this with my mom, and when the Snape scene happened, when you see everything like coexist, I sat there. I remember being like, "What the fuck?" And I was like shocked. Because I remember, like, watching these movies as a kid, I'm like, Snape's an asshole! And then getting to 7 Part 2, I'm just like, it made me feel like an asshole. And that's what kind of really started me wanting to binge these. But I didn't have a way to do it. And then I remember when I first got HBO because I wanted to watch Game of Thrones. I saw Harry Potter was there. That's when I started binging them for like 4 or 5 years. And my God, dude, I just love that Snape arc, dude. That Snape arc is my absolute favorite, dude.
7 Part 2 was really good. That's how you do an end game, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was. It just everything came together. Everybody had a moment. Even Neville Longbottom had an awesome moment in the movie.
I know, like, Neville.
Yeah, man. Remember Neville?
Neville, my man, came in there clutch. My man, he's like, dude, we're down, and it's the fourth quarter. Fucking 20 seconds left on the clock. We're like 45 yards away. Neville came in with the catch, scoring that touchdown, bro. I'm telling you, man, Neville came in there slicing that damn thing's head off. Oh, I was like, damn.
Sword on your ass.
My favorite clutch point, my favorite character moment was Ron's mom when she killed that bitch from Azkaban, the crazy one. This witch killed what's his face?
Don't ask me about names, bro.
I'm trying to remember her name.
We're not thinking Beatrix, right?
Beatrix Strange, yeah. Okay. Ron's mom killed her because she was so pissed because no one liked her. No one did because she killed Harry's godfather. She killed so many people. She was apparently the one responsible for killing what was it, Fred or George? I think it was Fred that died. She was responsible for killing so many icons. So when you see Ron's mom and this bitch on a catwalk, you get scared, and then she's like, "Don't you touch my daughter, you bitch!" And it starts fucking swinging the wand. I'm like, "Go, that's what I'm fucking talking about." I remember the entire theater erupted, dude. One of the few things of like a Harry Potter movie. Imagine in Harry Potter, the theater erupting. It's not a Marvel movie. It's not a DC movie. It's not a comic book movie. It's a fantasy movie, and everyone stood up and cheered. There's not a moment like that in Harry Potter. 7 Part 2 was just, let's end everything in the most badassery way possible. And
And everybody gets a moment. Everybody, like, all the Death Eaters, right? Yeah, all the Death Eaters end up getting destroyed. Like, it was just the perfect ending, man, to be honest with you.
You know what
I've got to ask you, though. We're on the subject of Harry Potter. How do you feel about the Fantastic Beasts series, especially the last movie? Because I'm a little bored, I feel. There are a couple threads in the story that I'm very interested in, especially Ezra Miller's character and the fact that he's a Dumbledore and those things. But I'm not really interested in, like, the Newt Scamander stuff like I thought I would be. I like the creatures, love how the creatures look and stuff. But I'm not finding myself that interested in these stories, except for Ezra Miller's character. I can't quite remember his name. Credence, I think is his name.
Yeah,
I know he's a
been a minute since I
Dumbledore.
watched.
Credence, and he's a Dumbledore in this last one. So I'm like, all right, how does that thread together? But everything else, I don't really care.
Yeah, funny you brought this up because this is another part. This was like a 30-minute video I made, and I was like, it was just too long and everything like that. So I'm glad you brought this up too. I enjoyed 1 to an extent. It was fun. I liked 2 again to an extent. Because I'm usually very forgiving with Harry Potter. If I watched it again, I'd probably like it less and less and less, like I have with certain of the Harry Potter movies. But I will tell you this, I recognize a lot of the flaws. And one of the many flaws is, 1, the director is on his 6th Harry Potter movie. He's about to make Fantastic Beasts 3. We need a new director. Like, what made 3, the transition from 2 to 3 so special and made you just go like, refreshing. It's a new director.
Yep.
And here's another biggest problem. The biggest problem with the Fantastic Beasts movies. You have an author writing these movies. And you could tell. You could tell. And let's acknowledge this. J.K. Rowling made a fantastic world, but she's gone fucking loony. She lost her goddamn mind. Her Twitter is just wow. Just
oh my god!
wow, wow. Just my favorite thing
She
she's
seriously needs
ever
to
said.
come out and apologize to the trans community. That's not cool.
So what did she say? I was hearing a lot about that. Like I heard her say a lot of dumb shit, but this trans thing, I didn't hear what she said about that.
So like she was just making comments, essentially like really snide, uppity comments
Yep.
about like, oh, only women could be women and trans women could never fully understand, and like I know she had quote tweeted a tweet of a picture, and in the picture it was like talking about like some kind of sign talking about like menstruation is for all for anybody who wants to identify as female, and she had like had some snide comments to say about the sign, and I was just like, that's not cool, man. Like don't be against people for the choices they want to make.
Bro, like she said some wacky ass shit, and she's going fucking downhill. I think she actually lost her mind. I think she legit lost her mind because I remember it was a couple of years ago. I think it was like a year or two ago. It's probably been longer than that. Time's been flying way too fast for me. But J.K. Rowling made a statement saying that she never wrote her Hermione as a girl, and there's a bajillion reasons why that's stupid. She never wrote her as a girl. That I don't know what the point she was trying to make. She said something like that, and then someone took a picture of the Harry Potter book, and she used the word "she" in front of Hermione, and they're like, "Ha, see that?" And another thing that's wrong with that is that she wrote the Hermione character as herself. She saw herself as Hermione. So was she supposed to be a man? Like there's
right.
there's not one part of this story that I picked together that she's just making up shit as she goes now, and you can tell.
Weird is Dumbledore. She said Dumbledore
was
is gay, but they didn't really go that far.
They didn't even do anything with it. They didn't do anything with it.
Okay, like there's a lot of hints, there's a lot of teases, but they never said anything about being a couple. They never said about anything about being more than friends. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, if you're gonna say that Dumbledore is gay, make him gay. Like all this, like, hints and just make him gay. Like, I think that's just stupid to come out and make a statement and say, oh, he's been gay the whole time, but then when it comes to the movie, we're gonna kind of poke at it, not really. Just make him gay. Like, there shouldn't be any kind of sensitivity to pulling that off.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, oh, no one cares about sexuality and like or anything like that. I'm not going to say that because myself not being gay, like, people want representation. And I'm not going to sit in here and stop that. But there's a way to make someone, like, a character gay, and there's a way to make someone straight. Like, there's even times where I cringe with romance with straight characters. I'm just like, bro, fuck off, stop. Just like, it just comes off cringy.
Star Wars Episode 2. Hack of the Clones, folks. Oh, God.
Like, so, but like, there's a way to do romance right. There's a way to do gay romance right, and there's a way to do straight romance right. There's just romance, do it right. And she made a big deal out of it. If it's a part of the story, then yes. But by announcing that Dumbledore is gay, I was expecting there was a character arc about it. Because it's like, what was it, like 1920 or something like that? 1930?
Yeah.
So there could have been a cool character arc there. But she's like, he's gay! He's always been gay. And then do absolutely nothing with it? Then what was the point?
Yeah, why say that?
Yeah, like if he was just gay and you didn't say anything about it and there was just a couple teases, I would have been like, oh, look, that's an interesting little character beat. I never knew about him.
Yeah,
just saying.
Weird for her to come out and make it a big deal, and then in the movie it's not.
It's like having this character who's a mixed race, and then like have the movie nothing to do with his race, right? It could be like an action comedy, right? Not one joke about his race, and then just announce he's mixed with Asian, he's mixed with black. It has nothing to do with the story. Why are you announcing it? If you said something in the movie, that's a different story.
Rowling is just going crazy.
She's going fucking loony heavy. She's lost her damn mind. I say certain things like, when you become famous, like to a whole new level, you tend to lose your shit. That's why I love Mark Hamill. I love Mark Hamill because that dude is literally god tier in the industry now because he's Joker, he's Luke Skywalker, he's all these other things. The dude's still got a soul. He's so wholesome from what I've seen. And then you got Daniel Radcliffe on that topic, Harry Potter. The dude, he did it right. He laid low for a little bit, and now he's doing a couple. He went from indie movies. Now he was like on this weird ass movie where like he had guns stapled to his hand.
Guns akimbo.
Yeah, and then he was in this weird ass movie.
Did you watch that?
I didn't see any of them. I haven't seen any of his other movies. Except for the horror movie, which was kind of shit. But I got to see the one where it was Swiss Army Man, where he played a corpse. Like, my man is awesome because he's not letting the power get to his head. Where he's like, "Oh, dude, now I can play anything I ever wanted." The dude's like, "Nah, let me go small now. Let me play a corpse." He's got a sense of humor, bro. He went from Harry Potter to playing a guy who farts as a corpse. Like, that tells me that the guy's got a head on his shoulders. That he was raised right. And then we all know certain stories about kids who were famous and then just lost their goddamn mind. Like, what's his face? Macaulay Culkin?
Oh, yeah. Man, I was about to get to him.
Yeah.
Man.
Kid went through some shit.
Poor guy.
Yeah, poor guy. He's coming back. He's doing better now. So
yeah, for sure. He's been in a couple things since.
Yeah, he played in a commercial, the pizza commercial. I think it was Domino's.
He did Domino's. He did a Google one as well.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I'm just like, damn. I'm glad you're coming back, dude. I'm glad you're coming back.
Good to see you, Macaulay. Come back to life, bro.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, just she just let that power get to her head. I think the thing is, some people say there's always a certain crazy there. In everybody, there always is. It's just, when you get famous, it kind of gets amplified, and it's just arrogance and all this other shit. And it just kind of amplifies the back emotion where you feel like you can have, like, no repercussions for what you say. When it's actually the opposite, where, like, you say anything stupid as a famous person, make one little mistake.
Coming for you.
Yeah, you can make one freaking mistake. Like, when certain people found out that Robert Downey Jr. was a drug addict and he finally, like, cleaned up his act, certain people, even people that I know, are like, "Oh, dude, now I don't want to support any of these movies." I'm like, dude, it's called redemption for a reason. The dude's, like, is human. He's like, "Well, yeah, he's allowed to make mistakes, but he's making millions and millions of dollars." I'm like, it's the best comeback story you can ever think of. Like,
yeah,
legit.
Like, why y'all hating on somebody's comeback, man? People just always got to have some reason to hate.
Yeah, bro. I'm just like, when I heard that, I'm like, this dude, he cleaned his act up. I'm so proud of him, dude. Like, I use that as a symbol. Like, the guy was big, but he was never big.
Yeah,
he falls under.
But he wasn't like Iron Man, man.
Yeah. Then he fell off, and he became Iron Man. Then he cleaned his act up. What's the hate?
For the guy.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. Like, the dude now, like, just like without Iron Man though, like, he made some shit movies. Doolittle, like, I saw the trailer. You got Doolittle, The Judge. None of his other movies outside of Iron Man in the past 15 years have done good, financially and critically.
Sherlock, that shit was dope.
I forgot about Sherlock. They're finally making a 3. They're finally moving forward with that. Thank God.
Thank God,
dude.
That was a good franchise.
Yeah, dude. I was not the biggest fan of the slow-mo stuff, though. I will say that.
Yeah, it was a little cheesy, but man, that first one.
Oh.
$90 million budget, right?
Yeah.
$524 million at the box office.
God.
That's a good little return for that first one.
Yeah, the second one I think it made less money and the budget was higher. I forget.
It made about the same, but the budget was higher.
Yeah. Who made that? What's the director? I'm trying to remember his name. Guy Ritchie. Yeah, he's got a very specific style.
He does. He's got a very, like, pinpoint style. You got to really look at the movies because he kind of threads little details together and stuff.
Yeah.
And he'll have, like, the unexpected happen.
Wait.
His most recent movie was that one with Matthew McConaughey, The Gentleman. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, I heard that was really good. Speaking of Sherlock, I wanted to know, have you ever watched the show Sherlock? With Benedict Cumberbatch.
That's the one with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And Martin Freeman is his name? Yeah, dude. Watch it. I think it's fucking great. I think they're not seasons, I think they're called. I forget what they're called. I think they're called like sets or something like that. There's like 4 or 5 episodes per quote unquote set, and they're all like an hour and a half long, and they're freaking great. They're great. I love Benedict as Sherlock. I remember when Captain America: Civil War was happening, like the marketing for that. One of the best memes I saw of it was when it was like Avengers. You have Robert Downey Jr. and you have Chris Evans, and it's just them both facing off, and you have Iron Man. He's like nice tights, idiot, and then it was Chris Evans saying Cumberbatch was a better Sherlock, and it's just like Civil War, and I'm like,
my god, I've seen that, man.
Yeah, Cumberbatch is a better Sherlock in my opinion because he's got the more like
he kind of has more of a look and feel.
And plus, he is British.
I think of with Sherlock, yeah, and he's British.
Yeah, so that does help out.
But I do like Robert Downey Jr.'s version, though.
Yeah, definitely.
That's not for me. That's not to say that his version isn't great because I've seen a little bit of the Benedict Cumberbatch stuff. I haven't seen the series or that many episodes. I think I caught a few of them, and I've seen some trailers, some media. I do like the feel and look of Cumberbatch's Sherlock Holmes a little bit better. It's more of what I envision Sherlock Holmes to feel and be and look like. And Robert Downey Jr. is kind of like a more cool, unique take. Like, oh, this is kind of like a different Sherlock Holmes. This is pretty, like, his own story. Almost.
Exactly.
It was cool.
It's one of those things is like when people see a different incarnation of it, they freak out. And I'm like, this is no different from like a comic book adaptation. Because there's like so many the stories of like Iron Man, Superman are so old. There's different versions. Same thing with Sherlock. There's certain things that are like the same. Sherlock's a douchebag. He's not good with people, but he's fucking smart as shit. And that's the one thing that's consistent. It's just what do they decide to focus on more, and what kind of world are they living in? It's just a different style, and when people see something different, they freak out. That's why when they saw, not saying it's the main reason why people hate it, but Man of Steel. That's why a lot of people don't like Man of Steel, because they're like, Christopher Reeve is the only Superman, and that's the only way you should be doing Superman. And like there's some people who love Superman Returns. Some people are like, that's my Superman. I don't know why and what fucking planet you're living on, why that should be your Superman, but whatever. And then there's this one. And Batman. Batman's got like 17,000 incarnations. Everyone's like,
for real, man.
This guy is my Batman.
Wait. Superman. People were talking about Superman Returns of Brandon Routh.
Certain people
you gotta
like
be
that.
Kidding me.
Yeah, there's some people out there.
That sucks. I'm sorry. I kind of feel. I just don't like him as Superman. I kind of almost feel like there's a bit of a facade there. Like he's not. He just doesn't feel like Superman to me.
He's just
I don't
a
know.
man who picks up heavy shit. That's all he
when I look
did.
at him, I just don't feel the Superman vibe. And I know people are like, he looks just like Superman.
I love his costume, but that's it.
He looks like a Superman from the 50s in a modern movie. And I'm like, I'm not feeling that. And maybe that was the problem, is that now that you've got like Henry Cavill.
Oh my god!
You got, an amazing suit with more muted colors and a more modern, fresh look. You look at that Brandon Routh one, you're just like, dude, what? It just looks old school, and it's kind of, and I think it's the shade of blue that he had. It just was weird.
It was too poppy. It was too poppy, and this is why people need to understand why direct adaptations from comics is not okay. Because everyone, I'm so fucking tired of listening to it. And when I watch something, like if it be on my channel or someone else's channel, and then I always see that one comment. It's not like the adaptation. It's not like the comics and stuff like that. I'm like, it's called an adaptation for a reason. There's nothing wrong with the comics. I'm like, yeah, put it on the fucking big screen. It's gonna look like shit.
Yeah, well, no, and plus, let's be real here. It's tough to make some of that stuff come to life.
Yeah.
It's tough. Like, imagine being a director or producer and you're given something like, oh, I don't know, gosh, I'm trying to think. Maybe even like
for a wacky
Wars, for example. You're not going to be able to adapt that panel for panel.
Yeah.
With the budget that you have and the CG, you have to squeeze that down and compromise and make some changes here and there. First of all, to make it a little bit more believable in the world you're building up, because I know some like the Dark Knight and stuff like that are a more realistic take or a realistic look, whereas the DCEU is a little more darker, but definitely includes all of the DC lore. You just have to like interpret it differently for the world you're trying to build. And I think that people get so caught up in trying to be comic book accurate that like sometimes it takes away from it for them. And for me, I know that it's a movie, it's a different version. I already know the MCU is a different universe, same with the DCEU. I'm not gonna be so bent out of shape that it's not accurate with the comics.
Yeah, like, you know, I have to do it, but like something like Green Lantern, they're doing an HBO Max show. I can almost guarantee you they're not going to do exactly like the comics.
You know they're not going to do the Sinestro Corpse Wars.
I hope they do. I hope that's like a finale to one of the like seasons. I hope so.
It has to be, man. Like what,
I can guarantee you that they're going to do something like it. They're going to definitely take that story and adapt it. Which, for me, being a big like Green Lantern fan, like I love Spider-Man more, but I've read more like Green Lantern stuff because of the lore. And if I see something different, yes, it's going to suck for me because I'm like, oh, they didn't do it like that. Because I think what Jeff Johns did with the comic series is so perfect in its own way. But as a movie fan, I understand they can't do it page for page, comic for comic, and they're not going to have all the characters aligned. But to see it on the on the small screen but live action, that's going to tell me something different, and I want to see something unique in its own world, but still keeping up with the same story, the same idea. People love Infinity War, but it's not like Infinity Gauntlet. I didn't see fucking Wolverine in the right corner just like getting shattered with vibranium. Like he's not dying, or adamantium, my bad. But he's not dying, like getting snapped, and just Hulk's neck didn't get snapped. Spider-Man's head didn't get chopped off. People didn't go, it's not like the comics, because it was so cool. Something like that with Green Lantern. But the thing is with Green Lantern in that show, they have so much lore to explore. I want them to pace themselves. Yeah, pace yourself, for the love of God. Don't do the PBS thing. Please don't do it.
Honestly, they could do every season. They could do a different storyline. They could the first season, Emerald Dawn 1 and 2. You show Hal Jordan's story. You bring in him training with Sinestro. Then you bring in Jon Stewart a little bit later. Then you go for the Sinestro Corpse War stuff.
Yeah, they gotta really do Sinestro right.
Then you build up to Blackest Night and Brightest Day.
Yeah.
And boom, you have a series. Because I'm sorry, I'm not gonna trust them with more than 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah,
like,
I think
hang it up.
I think the perfect ending is 4 to 5 seasons, which is like that's like the solid like at least seasons number. Unless you do 3, which is really for a Green Lantern, that's not enough because
4 will be ideal.
Yeah, 4 is ideal. 5 is lucky. Any more than that, we're pushing it. We're gonna get a little clingy. Unless if they do, imagine seasons 1 through 3 do so fantastic, right? Everyone's loving it. They start building up another world of like a Superman show, then a Batman show. Because why the hell have we had not a Batman show? Because Batman screams TV. Anyway, build up a Batman show.
Oh, we did. Remember Gotham?
What? Sorry, what was that? I heard you cut out there. Jesus, that show was trash. I couldn't get past the first season, dude. Oh god.
Oh man.
But like, get a Batman.
I like the concept. Love the concept of Gotham.
Yeah.
The execution was
terrible.
Such shit.
Yeah, like build up so you see if Green Lantern seasons 1 and 2 do fantastic, everyone's loving it. They're like, okay, let's test something else out, but still keeping it individual, not forcing them together like the CW did. Like do a Batman show. Everyone's loving it. Awesome. Build up Flash. Do a Flash live action TV show on HBO Max. Like try to build and then do a Justice after everything is said and done. Imagine the first season of Justice League, right? Like the biggest and most ambitious project they've ever done for TV is a full season of Justice League, and it's Justice League Blackest Night or Brightest Night or something like that, right? But it focuses more on Green Lantern. So, not saying do that exactly, but like something along those lines. Or you do Brightest Night, Blackest Night, and that's how they integrate all the characters together, which I think would be fantastic. Like imagine cameos in the final season of Green Lantern before Justice League, right? You have the Yellow Ring coming to Batman, and it's like, you have been chosen for the Sinestro Corps. Welcome to using fear and stuff like that. And he's like, get the fuck off of me, and then flies away. They're like, oh shit, he's got strong willpower. Flee. I don't know. I think you can do a lot of cool. The fucking ring's like flying away. It's like, I think that would be awesome. And just imagine like. And because in Blackest Night, we saw a lot of the Justice League characters have rings. Imagine seeing a live-action Superman wielding a blue ring. Imagine seeing, like, Flash with the blue ring. What ring did Superman actually use? Because I know he didn't use blue. Because that makes way too much sense.
I believe it was actually green.
Yeah, so because the guy stands for hope, and yet he can't use the blue ring. But beside the point, Flash uses blue.
Yeah, Flash used the blue.
And I think Batman used green as well. There was a lot of blues and greens in there. But just imagine the Justice League all wielding rings. And
oh my god,
dude! Oh, just imagine. And that's the series finale. You cannot get more soaking, drenched in my pants than that for a series finale. It would suck that it's gone.
They're not gonna pull that off. They would not do it, man. I just can't trust. I can't trust the writers to just go back to the best stories.
That's what I'm saying. But in this scenario, 1 and 2 are fantastic. 1 and 2 are fantastic. Like, greatest DC television ever, which isn't the biggest, the biggest leap to have, because the greatest DC TV is first 2 seasons of Arrow, and that was back in 2014. So,
Doom Patrol.
Oh shit! Duh, forgot Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol was fantastic.
Doom Patrol is. I think that might be their bet.
Dude, that show hit different.
Cycle. Yeah, it really did. I'm trying to cycle through all their shows though. And I think out of their live action, that might be their best one. Because, yeah, the first 2 seasons of Arrow were good. And then it just, season 3, the Felicity stuff started escalating. And I was like, all right, come on, man. Like, this is a drama. This is supposed to be about a dude hopping from rooftop to rooftop at night.
Yeah.
And it turned into like this, Oliver's priorities are all over the place. And I was not feeling that shit.
That's why,
Arrow just went downhill.
To be fair, though, that's all studio. That's the company. Yeah. CW, who's always been known to be a melodrama. I mean, look what they did with Smallville. I'm going to leave it there. Just ranting aside, leave it there. Put it in a little box. Yeah, Smallville was a melodrama. A lot of the Arrow stuff now is melodrama. And HBO does not do melodrama. They do drama. And they do it right. Except for final seasons of Game of Thrones, but beside the point, look at the original Game of Thrones stuff. Look at the stuff they allowed to happen. To be fair, the writers were not the ones really doing that. That was just them adapting something that was already fantastic, apparently, because they proved their writing skills in season 8. They
admitted in a panel they did not know how to write, and I was like, why would you get these guys in?
Yeah, so but I trust HBO to an extent, because they're willing to put down the dollar to make something great.
Yeah, they told those guys, we'll give you. They offered them 10 episodes that season and another 10 episode season.
Yeah,
we could have got 2 more seasons of Game of Thrones.
And these
guys
no.
were just like, oh, we're ready to wrap it up,
because they were such in a rush to do something different. I'm like, I hate to say this, but that show made them. And I hate using that excuse, because if it's time to move on, it's time to move on. But the story was not ready to be done. It was not ready, as you could tell. They turned my favorite character into a fucking clown. Tyrion Lannister. My man.
Clown!
What a joke. The guy could not trust anybody. That's what made it. He was so cold and calculating. He was always planning like, okay, who's gonna backstab me and what's my backup plan? That was his character. Then out of nowhere, he trusted his sister with his life. Out of nowhere, the bitch that fucking backstabbed you and that calls you an imp and then hates on you all the time, but she's my sister. That didn't stop you before.
Yep. Completely changed characters within like an episode.
Yeah.
Jaime Lannister, somebody who was like, oh my god, I tarnished my honor as being the Kingslayer, and now I can revive it by going back and helping the right side. Finally, a character who had some kind of redemption. Threw it all away in an episode? In one fucking episode? I thought that was the stupidest shit.
Seasons. 7.5 seasons of this redemption arc. Everyone was theorizing, what if it was Jaime that kills him? And that was a popular theory, and I was down for that.
Me too.
Because like he was the Kingslayer. But imagine him being so close being the Kingslayer, but it's on its head. He killed the king of the dead. It was literally symbolism. It was sitting in front of you, and you fucked it up. It made no sense, bro.
Yeah,
oh
so
God.
How did you feel about them having Arya kill the Night King?
It was such a waste. I didn't care it was Arya, but it was just how she did it. Oh, I'm gonna drop my sword into my other hand, and just, everyone's like, "That's so cool." I'm like, bro, a fucking toddler can do that. I could have done that. I'm not even that skilled. And bro, what was that arc about her learning magic all about? That arc had nothing. The many-faced gods.
The many-faced god stuff?
She used it once.
I thought that stuff was dope!
Yeah!
But see, that was the problem. They didn't explore it more. Like, in the books, they actually go into the many-faced god lore a lot. And I would have loved for them to, like, do that because the books adaptation ended in season 6. So once they got to season 7, they had a potential to show her doing that through the entire season, and she rarely does. But to their credit, she does use it quite a bit. She used it to trick Littlefinger, and her sons to trick Littlefinger, and so it does come into play. But you're right; it's almost like we got a full season of that, and we didn't get to see her use it on the Night King or something like that. Like it would have been cool if like it was one of his subjects and she like pulled his face off and killed him.
Exactly what I was thinking. Like imagine it was one of the imagine it was one of the like the big guys.
The long hair dude.
Just imagine, she's like, hey, over there, and then she just stabs him, and he's like, you betray me, and then rips off the mask. She's like, sup, bitch, and then fucking cuts his throat. That
would be amazing.
Because
or
she's
even
the only
if she
character.
was. Yeah, man. I would have loved to see that. And like, what else they didn't do enough of in the last season is the warging. I would have loved to see more like Bran warging into others and warging into other creatures. And I just thought that was super duper wasted. He's the three-eyed raven. Like, shouldn't he be able to use some kind of magic to ward off the Night King? I just thought that was weak sauce.
Talk about weak sauce. My man could see the future. He was past, present, and future. Everything was just there to him, right? My man could have manipulated that for the better. But, like, he decided to alter events, let people die and suffer. He pretty much saw his sister get sexually assaulted and all this other dark shit, right? All for what gain? What gain? So he could be king at the end. What an asshole!
Stupid.
What an asshole! Fucking hell, he was like easily the worst arc in the entire show, right? Easily. I think it was even like that in the books. It was just not that. It's not my cup of tea. Again, a magic user, and I was not interested. You had to fail hard for me not to be interested in a magic user in a fantasy show or a movie, because fantasy stuff. I'm all fantasy, and they just made him boring, and they fucked Hodor, dude. Why?
Oh my god!
My Hemi didn't deserve that. My dude fucked Hodor from the beginning of time. He's screaming, hold the door, and then he's Hodor. He fucked him over so badly so he can just make it out of there alive so he can put a crown on his head. What a dork. What an asshole.
Yeah, I hate that. I hated that. I really hated the Daenerys Targaryen stuff. I had actually started on a rewrite of Game of Thrones of some of the episodes, and I didn't get too far in, but I had written down some details that I would have changed, and I actually would have had Daenerys losing to Cersei, and not willingly, but dying, I guess with honor, if you will, because I kind of would have liked it if Dany rushed in and was like, "All right, I'm gonna get Cersei, not the village, but Cersei had a backup plan." Because this is the lady. We're talking about the lady who lit the Citadel on fire with the wildfire. She had a plan all the time, like through the entire series. Cersei could not be outsmarted. That's how she got to the throne, because she's like outsmarted everyone. And I thought it was the dumbest character change for her to not have anything prepared. She was prepared for Daenerys the first time. What the heck was different this time? Oh, she's burning down people? Why didn't you guys have more? Like, it's like, I just thought that was so stupid. I thought Dany's turn was stupid. I thought the turn was way too quick. And I see what some people are like. Some people like the turn, and I would have liked it with more context. But like, just the fact that it was kind of like, all right, from the perspective of me, the viewer, what the fuck? I didn't get enough to really see her mentally decline, and people point to the beginning of the episode where she was slipping. I get it, but I don't. In that moment right there, they didn't provide me enough context to know, okay, did she snap because it's possibly due to what happened throughout the season? Did she snap because maybe the bells actually did make her psychotically snap? I don't know. We don't know, because there was not enough context for that change. Yes, she lost Missandei. Yes, I get it. She got lost Jorah, but like there wasn't enough time with Dany for us to actually feel that, because we're supposed to expect that happened off screen. No. Show don't tell, folks.
Yeah, one of my biggest problems with that is like, I remember I was tweeting live when this happened, right? People were saying, people were like, "Oh, dude, you guys clearly don't watch the show. She was always kind of a little insane. Like when she burned those slave owners and stuff like that." I'm like, okay, I see where you're coming from. But in that instance, she was going 20 miles an hour. And then she was slowly picking up speed. By season 6, she was going about 30, 35. She's made some morally wrong choices. And you're like, okay, I can see where they're going with this, right? And then she went from 35 to mother effing 70. She doubled her speed in 2 episodes? You can't slowly build up something like going for a walk and then decide to go for a full sprint. That's not... If you set up pacing like that, you don't just change the pacing just to wrap up in 1 episode. That's not storytelling. That's not good storytelling. If you're going to wrap up something, wrap it up like the normal pacing. Because what made Game of Thrones so good was its pacing. It was slow. It's hard to get in. It's slow and it's a burn. And it doesn't feel slow because you're just watching everything. You're watching this fire just kind of start burning up and up and up. And as the seasons go along, things are getting worse and worse and worse. And then Daenerys just lost her shit. So the fire went from a smoldering fire to the freaking city of Chicago burning down. That's what happened. And if you defend that, if you were okay with it, that's awesome. But for me, and clearly for Leo over here, there was nothing from the 35 to 70 to explain that.
So I'll kind of give you the predictions that I had based on the characters that were built up through the entire series and not changed within a fucking episode. So for me, I thought Jon was going to be given the kingdom, but I thought that he was going to pass it on because that's not who Jon is. So I thought he would pass it to either Tyrion or someone else. I definitely didn't see Bran getting the crown. I thought that Jon was going to pass it to Tyrion.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
If anybody, I was like, okay, we could trust this guy, the smartest one in the room, to rule the kingdom. I mean, he's been hand to two monarchs. He is incredibly smart. He's been on all sides of the coin. Like, I would definitely have given it to Tyrion. So I thought it was going to pass down in that manner. I thought what was going to happen is Daenerys would corner Cersei. Cersei would make her feel bad in some kind of way. Like, would make her feel like, oh, you're just like your father. Daenerys would end up not killing her, and in retaliation, Cersei would kill her because she would make her feel like, oh, you're just like the Mad King. Cersei and Dany would not want to go the same route of the Targaryens. Obviously, that didn't end up happening. And I thought the Sansa stuff that played out exactly how I thought it was going to. I would say that's the only storyline and thread that played out exactly how I thought, the Sansa stuff. And then for the rest of the characters, saw Jorah dying. I thought more people were gonna die, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed.
I was surprised. I thought maybe Gendry would go.
Who was the bald guy?
What
the guy
bald
that had no
guy?
penis. The guy with no penis.
Oh, Varys.
Dude, they made me feel
killed?
bad for him. Yeah, they made me feel bad for him. The guy was kind of a douche the entire series, my bad. And then the final season, he just turned to a good guy. I'm like, oh, okay. I can kind of see where he's coming from because Daenerys is going batshit crazy. So I can see why he's like, okay, maybe I should switch sides just because how batshit crazy she is. And then he just died. And you know what? It was all Tyrion's fault.
She figured out and killed him.
Yeah. And I'm like, bro, you had an interesting character growth. You just torched him. I'm like, mother hell. It just, oh, God. I was pissed, bro.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that was such a stupid death. And, like, I guess that you could see there that was, like, a piece of that loss of sanity. But, again, it's not explored. It's not like afterward Jon was like, yo, do you think maybe that was a little too much? Or there's no exploration. It's just like, oh, he gets burned and everybody's like, well, dust our hands off, back to work. Like, there's no... We don't get to spend time with Dany in this mental decline that they supposedly built up through the season. I just hate that season, man. After episode 3, I was pretty much done.
I was pretty pissed. Oh, God. We're going to change gears real quick because we got a comment. Well, it seems the Dark Universe is getting resurrected a third time due to the supposed success of Invisible Man, which I still hasn't seen as they cast Ryan Gosling as the Wolfman. So,
yeah, seen that.
I did not see Invisible Man yet. I want to really badly because I've heard the stories about it and like everything about it. I'm like, interesting. I'm very intrigued. I want to watch because when I first saw the trailer, I'm like, it looked like a fucking C horror movie at best. It didn't even look like a B movie. And so seeing the success of that, I see why they kind of want to do a Dark Universe again, but they got to do it smart. They can't do what they did with the Mummy, which I refuse to watch with Tom Cruise. I refuse to watch. I saw that. I'm like, ew. The trailer alone made the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies look good. Don't get me wrong. The Brendan Fraser movie, at least the Mummy 1 and 2, were pretty solid for their time. But 4? Oh, God. I remember watching it in the theater. I was like, this is me as a kid, by the way. Something's not right. I never hated anything as a kid. Even Spider-Man 3.
The Mummy?
But the Mummy, what was the Revenge of the Emperor King or some bullshit like that? It's just like, I was watching that. I walked out of the theater. I'm like, interesting. I remember.
So,
you go.
Invisible Man has such an interesting take on the original film. Like, it was very different and modern in theme. And I like Elizabeth Moss. She's a great actress. And honestly, man, it's just such a great, thrilling film that is so dynamic. Small budget, not a lot of CGI, not a lot of use of effects. It's very practical. So it was a really good movie, and it was very enjoyable. I really don't see the need to build up a universe. Like, if you want to just kind of, I guess, keep things under some kind of odd umbrella, fine. But, like, I don't really need to see, like, Invisible Man team up with Wolfman. And, like, I don't need to see all that. I just think it sounds kind of cheesy.
Oh
And
yeah,
it sounds like
definitely.
they're trying to have some kind of Marvel under their umbrella, and that's not the way to do it. These are just classic creature movies. Like it would be like if you said, "Okay, we're gonna make a Terminator, and then we're gonna bring in other robots like RoboCop." And well, hold on, man, that doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
But I just don't know about it working in these creature movies.
The thing is, like, especially with Invisible Man, based off the trailer alone too, you can't do cheesy with it. You just can't. Because from the look of it, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't say, but it looked like it was very dark and eerie. And from the reviews, it was much of a character piece than anything like that for the main character. You can't turn that into like a cheesy fest, because if it was more like, I don't know, like one of the 1980s horror movies, like Jason or Friday the 13th, or like Nightmare on Elm Street. If you had something like that, you could do like Wolfman versus Invisible Man. If it was like that kind of cheese fest, but the way they set it up, you can't. You can't.
And that I don't know if I want to see that. It's like, do I care? Like I don't mean to be rude, but like
It's true. It's true.
it's just kind of like, do I need that in my life? Do I need another Freddy versus Jason? Do I really need that out of these like antiquitous characters that are pretty much timeless, like Wolfman, Dracula? I don't really need that, man. Like, it's gonna be some weird big CGI fest.
Oh god, yeah.
With these old characters, that is unnecessary. Just remake the movies with like these cool modern twists, because that's what I loved about Invisible Man, and it's self-contained. So I don't know what you would really do or where you would go to involve it with another Dark Universe character.
Like, I will admit this, I'm part of the problem when it comes to shared universes. I've always loved the concept of things being connected, because the storyteller in me is just like, dude, the possibilities that these were connected, right? But what you bring up is a fantastic point, and there's a time and a place for them. Even though I would love to see shit connect for no fucking reason, because I think it would be cool. Like RoboCop versus Terminator. Fun fact: that was going to be one of my Gumps verses. I don't know if you know what my Gumps verses are, but it was something I was going to build up. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, dude, this would be a great ass movie. But there's a time and place for them, and I don't think that would really work to an extent, because it's just like they're both machines fight. It's just like
Well, that it's funny you say that, because I brought that up earlier. I'm like, well, you wouldn't want to cross over Terminator with RoboCop. Wait, that would actually be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it would be awesome, but just like.
And what if they like were, it was T-800 and RoboCop versus each other. It started out as that, and then T-1000 comes into the mix, and they both have to team up to beat the T-1000. That will be.
See,
oh man!
Here's a better twist to that, right? Here's a better twist to that. Okay, so like the whole like two guys are fighting, and now they got to both team up to fight something bigger. Here's a big brain to turn that cliche on its head. The Terminator and the RoboCop are fighting, and then what was it? The T-1000 comes in. He's not there to fight RoboCop. He wants to kill the Terminator. He wants to kill Arnold. And Arnold's like, run. And then T-1000 is blowing up the city. So RoboCop is sitting there like, motherfucker, now I gotta fight this Terminator, and I gotta fight the T-1000. So it looks like they're teaming up, but in reality, RoboCop is just trying to fight two Terminators, but he knows which one's the bigger threat. So morally, they're not teaming up, because when that fight's over, he's gonna go back to fighting Terminator. So same concept, but with a little bit of a twist on it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I see Amazing Webhead was talking about Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. And man, don't get me wrong, I do love the crossovers of the early creatures. I'm saying we don't need that again. I don't want to see that in like a CGI format. I don't want to see that.
Imagine
redone.
a low budget though. A low budget, like little to no CGI though. I mean, it's possible.
A practical, yeah.
Yeah, but like more practical, and it's not like cities blowing up or anything like that. It's just like They're like, you got to do it right, and I don't feel like when it comes to something like that people are gonna want that. They're gonna be more like, shit, blow up, fucking fight. That's what they want.
That's what they're gonna do. That's why I just don't want it, man.
I definitely agree with you because I know how they work, and when it comes to the fight stuff, I definitely understand that. Yeah,
they're gonna be all over that like CGI Marvel MCU feel because I don't think they need to even do a dark universe anyway. But you know what, Webhead? I will say this: if it is practical, you know what, I'm in. Because if it's a more realistic, modern, practical take on all of these creatures, hell, I'm there. I'm there.
Fun fact about Frankenstein. Frankenstein, I believe, was actually supposed to go against Godzilla. It was Godzilla versus Frankenstein, and they ended up changing it for rights reasons, so they ended up having Batman versus Godzilla. And then and that ended up spinning off into, if I'm getting my timelines correctly, that ended up spinning off into a King Kong versus Godzilla. If I'm getting my timelines correct. Unless King Kong versus Godzilla was first. I don't know. Webhead's all into that shit, so you're going to have to ask him. But, like, Batman fought Godzilla. It was, like,
dude, have you not heard of Frankenstein Conquers the World?
What? Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's a monster movie.
There's a lot I gotta watch.
Conquers the World. It came out in '65. That's a Godzilla versus Frankenstein movie.
Damn, interesting stuff. Like, I definitely see what you're saying though with the whole like CG fest. Low budget.
Yeah.
Keep it small, keep it tight, and then we could have a good concept. But like again, you're right. Are they really gonna do it like the proper way? Are they really? It's like look at Freddy versus Jason. Like that was a sad excuse for like okay. It's a bad movie.
That was a bad movie. It was fan service. It
was bad, but don't get me wrong. When they started fighting, I'm like, okay. This is what I wanted to see.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to see, but it was bad. Like, but every time I saw, I remember skipping through all the bullshit human shit, and people were like, "Yay, Jason wins." I'm like, technically, without the humans, Jason was fucked. Just saying. That's why I hate that stuff. When it comes to these like monster versus stuff, humans always interfere. Always. Yep. I'm like,
always, man.
I'm like, fuck out of here.
Was horrible because of that.
Man.
And so was what's it called? That first Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, even the more recent one. What was the second one?
King of the Monsters.
Billy Bobby Brown. Yeah. Man. I love the monster battles. Love the monster battles.
Here's my problem with that movie.
Did not like the human interaction.
Here's my problem with that movie. King Ghidorah is my favorite monster. Always has been. I mean, why wouldn't you like him? He's a freaking electric space monster.
Three-headed dragon.
Yeah, and when it came to the fight with those two, right? Everything was so dark, so up close, and it was shaky cam up close. And I'm like, I can't see what's going on. The fact that it's CGI is you could do long takes and so far away you can actually see the fights happening. But they decided to do this fucking cheap up close and stuff like that. I'm just like, this doesn't look good. It doesn't visually look good. That's why I'm not really super thrilled about King Kong versus Godzilla. I've always wanted to see that movie better because what I saw with the fucking older movie, that was dog shit. It's heresy to say. It's heresy. It's heresy to say, but it was dog shit. Fucking, what, King Kong got struck by lightning? He got struck by lightning, got electrical powers, and killed Godzilla. That's bullshit. It's like, what? What do you mean? There's nothing electromagnetic about this fucking monkey. He's a monkey. He's just bigger. And he's
static like electricity, man.
He's like, I am stronger. I am powerful. I am King Kong. And he's like, what was that drop?
Are you talking about the 62?
I think so. Yeah, it was where like he got struck by lightning.
Yeah, you can't be clowning on that movie, man.
Oh god, I need to get drunk to watch that movie.
You can't clown on that one. I will say,
I laughed my ass off when Godzilla drop kicked him. I'm like, bruh.
Man, the monster movies, what I appreciate about them is just the effort they put into like making this somewhat believable.
Yeah, that's what was scary about them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, wow, that big giant monster coming from the sea, and just like the people running and screaming, "It's Godzilla!" and just like running away. It's just so like those movies are so just classic, man. But I am excited for the upcoming Kong versus Godzilla. It looks like it could like really break the pattern that they've had in these movies of all this human interaction. Kong versus Godzilla needs to be Kong versus Godzilla.
And
monsters.
What like I brought up earlier, the cliche of like they had to fight each other and shit like that. Fight something else at the end. Who's directing this? Gareth Edwards?
I'm not sure. Actually.
No, Gareth Edwards directed the first one. It was someone who was supposed to direct 9. I think he ended up doing this. So I think it is Gareth Edwards. Whoever it is.
Oh, was it? Adam Wingard.
Oh, I don't know that. But he did say that there will be a definitive winner. There will be a definitive winner, which I'm really excited for. I'm Team Godzilla. I've always been. When I was a kid, I remember. Fun fact: when I was in like the 5th or 6th grade, when I was going into 5th grade. So this is when I'm going to a new elementary school, because the school I went to didn't have a 5th grade. So I went to a 5th grade, and there was a summer program for film. I took that, and they were like, "Okay, what are we gonna make? What film project are we gonna make?" I voted for what was it, Ghostbusters, because I love Ghostbusters at this time. And they're like, "No, King Kong versus Godzilla." I'm like, "Bro, no shit, Godzilla wins." They're like, "No, King Kong would win." I'm like, "What do you mean? He's got an atomic breath. What's the fucking monkey got? Thumbs? Cool." And everyone's like, "Okay, well, we did a vote." I was the only one that was like Team Godzilla. To this day, I'm still Team Godzilla. Atomic breath all the way, bro. Just saying. I don't want to hear it.
I always like to let it play out. I'm not the type that's like, "Oh, I'm Team Kong, Team Godzilla." I just like to see it play out. I'm like, all right, how is one monster going to beat the other? Who's it going to be this time?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
Because, like, I mean, Godzilla's won before, Kong has won before. But I just like seeing how it plays out to get to who wins at the end.
To be fair, what Kong has over Godzilla is the fact that he's small. Apparently, he's going to be fucking massive in this. He's going to be much bigger than he was in Skull Island.
He's going to be huge.
So, which tells me is that he's going to lose a lot of his speed, which is one of Kong's best feats. It was the fact that he had the speed and endurance over Godzilla, where Godzilla had to take like 20 minutes to fucking turn around and just fire breath, atomic breath.
Godzilla got that tail though.
Yeah, that tail will smack the shit out. That will crack a goddamn ribbon, Kong. That shit will mess him up. Dude, you see how thick his thighs are? He didn't skip leg day for 3 years straight. He did not skip leg day. You know he's got that hip action, brother.
He's got those meaty thighs.
It's in my belly. You know, dude, I'm telling you, I want to see Godzilla use that tail and fucking whip him through a couple buildings.
Yes.
I want to see that. Like, as shit as these movies are, you got to acknowledge the fights are great, which sucks because in the past live action movies we haven't seen much of. It's just like, I mean, Kong. The only reason why Kong was bearable, because some of the fight scenes were good. Godzilla 1 was good, but they fucked up on the action because every time there was an action sequence, 3 times in a row, cut.
Yeah.
News footage. I'm like, mother.
That's what they did in the second movie too.
I'm just like,
they were like fighting, and a fucking helicopter flew up in front of the flight, and the helicopter came into focus, and the fight went out of focus, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
Like, people are thinking, listen, I understand you need plot to move a movie forward. You always will have human characters. I understand that. But when the fighting starts and you have a fucking plot reason for them to fight, leave it to the fight. Leave it to the fight. You can cut 15 minutes right there. You don't need, as a writer, I'm just like, okay, plot. What's the reason why Rodan will come to fight Mothra? Okay, type that. Okay, now I have a reason to fight. That's 15 minutes of the movie I don't have to write now. Just like, okay, there's a fight for 15 minutes and this, and done. 15 minutes gone out of the window. I don't have to write 15 pages of plot. Something that people don't want to fucking see. Just saying. Just like cut. Just let us see them punch each other, bro. It's a testosterone-filled movie event. It's an event. I'm not there to see Millie Bobby Brown fucking cry, hold her ears, and scream it. Ah! That's her new staple.
Wasn't she like under some rubble or something? I was like,
think so.
She's not dead. The fuck?
Dude, the movie's a bunch of questionable shit. Just like I hate the stereotypical villain where she's like, how are we going to save the Earth? Human extinction. Who's the one saying it? The human. Motherfucker. What? Dude, not Will Smith. Sorry, that's Sam Jackson's character and Kingsman was more logical than that bitch. He's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to kill the majority of the human race, leave up my hemis who are rich, who have their own personal bolts, and we're going to just leave them there. His plan was more realistic than this broad who's like, just let these monsters, let's get this like long, skeeving plan out there to let these monsters fight, destroy the human race, and then everyone will be fine. This bitch was ready to let her daughter die.
I forgot about that plot thread. God,
she was ready to let her own daughter die. I'm like, Hemi, what are you doing? Even, I hate to say this, but Adolf Hitler is like, bro, at least let the German race live. That's what Hitler's saying. You're worse than Hitler. You're ready to kill 7.5 billion people. Except yours are quote unquote like good intentions. Whatever. The Earth is dying, so we gotta. How are we gonna fix it? We are an infection. Earth is gonna keep fighting that motherfucker. That's not how it works. Your analogy's dog shit. It's just like we're an infection. I'm like, before we started certain technology advances, we weren't a disease. Oh, but you're only referring to our technology. Okay, I get it. So why don't you just destroy certain technology, or even better, find a greener, cleaner way? Nope, 7.5 billion deaths. That's gonna be on my conscience, and I'm gonna go rot in hell forever. Fucking dumb. I hated that plot.
Ah, man, I hated everything about that movie except for the monster stuff. And whenever they would cut away from the monster battles, I would just be like, why? Why are we doing this, dude? This is supposed to be an all-around battle between Godzilla, King Ghidorah, and the other monsters that were there. There were quite a few others.
Yeah,
and I was upset that they really didn't focus on that.
Yeah, like, they had an idea to set up lore about these characters. Like, one of the things I love about Godzilla 2014 was Godzilla being the apex predator. He's on top of the food chain. And I love learning, I would love to see more stuff like that, like this food chain of events of like these godlike creatures. I'd love that idea. Put some science fiction, some science into science fiction. I love that idea. Yeah. And then the concept with King Ghidorah is he is an alien. He is a legit alien who challenges and threatens that food chain. He's not supposed to be there. And I love that concept. And what do they do? It's Millie Bobby Brown and her bitch of a mother. Yay! Why?
They're the main characters. Just kidding. It's not Godzilla.
I am so hesitant to call myself a writer because I've only wrote one thing to completion. But as a person who loves to tell a story, that frustrates me because there is potential there. And to see someone get that script and that concept and use it as toilet paper, my God, what a goddamn insult. Wow.
Seriously, man. It's just idiotic, man. It really is.
But, yeah, just, how did we get here? How did we get here? Like, dead ass, I'm confused. What did we even start off with? We talked about Harry Potter. I remember that.
We talked about a bunch. We even dipped into HBO Max a little.
Because I know...
we've been talking.
Yeah. I want to wrap up on one last statement about HBO Max. Because I know we only touched on it, but I definitely want to talk about this in a little bit more depth. I've been using HBO Max for now, like, I want to say like 2 weeks. How long has it been out? Like a week or two?
Coming up on like 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I've had it for roughly a week and a half then. the platform is amazing. Its library is not as big as Netflix, but it's got better films and better TV than Netflix. Because Netflix is a lot of like filler, garbage, teen rom-coms and stuff like that. What
And
HBO
their
Max
original
has,
programming.
yeah. Oh, dude, HBO Max has got some good stuff. Good stuff. I can finally see some classical films I never had a chance to watch. Being the film fan, a lot of people say, "Oh, you're a film buff. Have you seen Casablanca?" I'm like, "Nope." Have you seen this? Nope. How are you a film fan then? I'm like, I don't know. I just like I grew up watching fucking Smurfs 1 and 2, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Medea.
Oh,
It's a
man.
goddamn miracle that I have the head on my shoulders. Like the fact that I feel confident even being able to tell a competent story is a freaking miracle. Because everyone learns storytelling from what they watch, and I didn't really have that much of a good teacher, as I just heard. Just I watched the same.
Alvin and the Chipmunks, huh?
Alvin and the, dude, I was tricked to watch the fourth one. I was tricked.
Oh,
We were
that's
gonna watch.
unfair.
We were gonna watch Sisters, I think it was called, and then they sold out, and my mom knew that. My mom knew that because she said she bought tickets online. And we get there, and then I look at my ticket. It said Chipmunks. I'm like, huh? And I remember watching the movie, wanting to die. I felt like I was having a fever dream. The only thing I kid you not,
Sucked.
the only thing I remember from that movie going experience was them shitting on a car. That's the only thing I remember. That's the most
man.
memorable scene of
More
the
than
movie.
me.
Just they shat on the car, and I think there was a douchebag kid that was gonna be the brother-in-law or something like that. I don't remember. Dude, my head's hurting. That was an awful movie. Wow. But like, yeah, so HBO Max has that library that I never had access to. I'm gonna finally see Casablanca. I'm gonna see Crash, which is something I've always wanted to watch. I'm revisiting Ben 10, which is sad because it's not as good as I remember, but I could see why I liked it. Just like the idea is there. I see what they were trying to do with the characters.
It's a little too juvenile, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little too unlike Avatar: The Last Airbender, where there was a lot of maturity to it. Ben 10 had a lot of juvenile stuff to it, but I could see like what they were going for. Like Ben's got to learn these lessons, and like it kind of like the problem in front of him is supposed to coincide. Like he could be a villain, but he's just got good intentions, and he's showing a lot of traits of bad guys, so he's trying to fix that here and there. I see what they were doing with it, but they didn't focus enough on that. They focused a little bit more on the banter on him and Gwen, which is fine. I can see why me as a kid I loved it, but as an adult it's not as grand. I just got done watching season 1. When Vilgax finally showed up, like and fought Ben, I'm like, okay, this is why I know this is shit I grew up watching, and this is the shit I loved because Vilgax came in there and he was not fucking playing, bro. He was just like Ben 10 was like, dude, who is this guy? Every time he throws him down, every time he tries to hit him, he just comes back. He was forearms, dude. He was beating the living shit out of his chest, and he's like, didn't even budge. Vilgax just looked down and he's like, I'm like, that's why I love this show. And I love the lore they set up, the world building and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the aliens. That shit was dope.
Yeah, dude, and that's what sparked a lot of my creativity. Avatar: The Last Airbender and Ben 10 was what sparked a lot of my creativity as a kid. That's probably why I have a remote creative being bone in my body, is because of those shows. And like,
Yeah, definitely not Alvin and the Chipmunks.
it was a painful ass show to watch. So, how much of Ben 10 did you watch growing up? I'm going to ask you this.
I watched the first series and then the second one when he was a teenager. I'll admit, I don't remember. I barely remember a thing about Ben 10 in terms of like stories, and I remember the central characters like the grandpa and Gwen and Ben, but I don't remember like plot threads. I don't remember too much. I did like the different alien transformations, and I do remember enjoying that first series and a little bit of the ones where after the time skip, but. What I will say is I could totally see going back to this series, not liking it as much.
Yeah, and that's my problem right now. The only reason why I'm not gonna lie, there's times where I'm like struggling to move forward because like it was like 13 episodes a season. I just finished season 1. There was a lot of filler stuff that could have been like trimmed down or like just dealt a little bit differently. To me, which sucks. It really breaks my heart. It really does. And you're right, because a lot of the plots I barely remember. I just got done watching 13 episodes in the span of like 3 or 4 days, and I barely remember any of it. Like I remember the iconic open episode. It's just there's not a lot there. The only thing I remember watching and remembering specifically, there was two things. One where Ben 10 meets the Omnitrix maker, because that was an actual movie. That was like a mini movie. It was like an hour long, and it was this huge thing where he finally gets the alien way big. And I saw that it was an actual plot with villain gags and everything. I'm like, okay, that's why I remember it, because there was an actual like cohesive plot where they didn't just run into trouble and Ben turns into an alien, learns a mediocre lesson, and moves on with the next story. There was an actual plot, a cause and effect that was there. So that's why I remember it. And the other one, I forget what it was about specifically, but it was like where Ben 10 was like in the future, and he was like an older guy. He had like 100,000 aliens or something like that on his Omnitrix, and there was like a younger, like it was his nephew or something like that who had another Omnitrix. So he's trying to train him. I forget that one, dude, but I remembered that moment. Those are like the most memorable moments of Ben 10. And then you just got the filler seasons.
You remember way more than me.
That's it. It sucks. I will say this: if you're gonna watch Ben 10, I'm not sure if they have it on HBO. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But watch the movie, the mini movie, not the live action stuff. I remember being mad as a kid. 10,000 in the future. Okay, he had 10,000 in the future. Yeah, he had a fucking arsenal on him. Imagine trying to flip through that on a watch. 10,000 aliens. You're like, he's in here somewhere. Just keep twisting. You're gonna get carpal tunnel before you get to the alien you're looking for. Anyways, anything else you want to say? What we touched upon before we head out?
I just want to say HBO Max has been a fantastic experience so far. I've hardly been off of it. I've actually used it a lot more than I've used Netflix and Hulu in the past couple weeks. And it could possibly become my favorite streaming service the more stuff they add. I don't know what they have on the way in terms of like next month or anything like that, but
yeah,
so far I am extremely impressed. I think it looks beautiful. I think the colors are beautiful, and I'm excited for what's next to come with HBO Max. I hope the Green Lantern series is good. I hope the Snyder Cut turns out a lot better than what we might be expecting. So I'm just hoping for the best, because so far I am really enjoying HBO Max, man.
Yeah, and my final thoughts are, like with HBO Max too, is I can't wait for their original content. When I say original content, I just mean like stuff like you said, Green Lantern and stuff like that. What I'm really excited about that is just to see what route they decide to take. Like, is it going to be just one Green Lantern? Is it going to be multiple Green Lanterns? Are we going to see all 4 human Green Lanterns? I would love to see a Guy Gardner. I know you're not the biggest fan of Kyle Rayner, but I would like to see all 4 of them. I think that would be really cool.
Chris is not. I'm fine with Kyle.
Oh, that's right. That is Chris. I hated him. But like, yeah, I just want to see what they do with that, and that's why I'm really excited to. And see if they make any more shows outside of Green Lantern, because Green Lantern is a very expensive a very expensive show. And if that becomes successful, are they going to start their own universe? That's what I'm really excited for.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Oh god, a Batman show with actually Batman. It's just like, oh, imagine. Well, anyways, guys, that's gonna be it. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. I have a Patreon, patreon.com/Gumps videos. You'll get content 24 hours early if you go to a certain tier. If you go, it's a lot of money, but if you go $50 a month, you get some of the cut stuff that I say on my recordings, because I say some really fucked up shit. So if you want to hear that, go to there. And if you go there, you're going at your own risk, because you don't cancel me. This is I cringe at some of the stuff I say. Well, anyways, guys, support me on Patreon. Again, patreon.com/Gumps videos. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter at Gumps_videos. I post a lot of stuff there. Just updates on my channel and stuff like that. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. I think we agreed on what was it, Saturday, right?
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday for your time or for my time?
I'm not sure, man.
We'll figure it out. We'll see you guys next Saturday. Can't wait, and we'll guys talk to you later. Peace. Bye, everyone.
Peace out.
Bye. Leaving.